Welcome to Arcade Science. Here's your host, Andrew Bowes.
Hello everybody, my name is Andrew Bowes. Welcome to Arcade Science. Today we're going to be talking a bit about arcade sticks. This is a traditional arcade stick used to play most fighting games. You'll see these most often. And these became really popular in the 1980s when the arcade industry really boomed. And that's kind of the appropriate way. That's the way that these games were intended to be played, was these actual arcade sticks right here. You can also see within the gaming community people using traditional controllers like you might see on an Xbox 360. A lot of people today think of the traditional controller setup when they talk about video games, like on a PS3 or a Nintendo 64 or what have you. But like I said, this is kind of my preferred way to play. This is a lot of the preferred way of a lot of people in the fighting game community. So today we're going to be talking a bit about personalizing these and making these your own. When you show up at a tournament, if you get really serious into play, a lot of people have these sticks, and you want to make sure that yours sets yourself apart. It says a lot about you as a gamer, and it's just another personality. It's a fun thing to do. This is my personal arcade stick. I modified this myself. This actual casing is the Street Fighter IV Mad Cat Standard Edition arcade stick. It costs about $80. All of these buttons are Japanese order buttons. They're Sanwa buttons. There's a lot of different button companies you can use. There's Seimitsu and Hori are very popular as well. These are 6 Sanwa Japanese push buttons. They're 30 millimeters. And we're going to talk a little bit about switching this up today to meet your own personal needs. So we have some things that we need to start this whole process. You're of course going to want to have your arcade stick, but over here we have just a small set of pliers. These are optional. You may not need to use these at all, but there are some things that are stubborn inside the actual arcade stick that you may need to use these to pull that apart. You're going to need a flathead screwdriver as well. You'll also need your replacement parts. This is another Sanwa stick here. This is your standard Sanwa stick. It costs you about $25. This is another Sanwa 30 millimeter push button here. This will run you about $2 to $3. You can get these transparent if you want them. You can get really crazy with it. This is a dust cover. These are like 50 cents if you want one of these. And these are my extra screws that I've already taken out of our demo stick in the interest of time. But what I highly recommend you do is bring something to set these screws in. Screws can get lost all the time, and it's really frustrating, and then you don't have enough to put the casing on your stick back on. It can get really frustrating. So anyway, I guess now we'll get started. This demo stick over here, it's got 6 in this case. It's got 6 screws on the bottom of it over this gray plate. And these rubber casings, this is just so that when you set the stick down, it doesn't move a whole lot of places. And over here on our demo stick, I have taken these out in the interest of time. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this up here. Now, I'll tell you, this sticker here means that if you open this up, it voids your warranty on the stick. So if you're one of those people that takes warranties very seriously, don't do this at all, because you will void your warranty. So when you open this up, there's all kind of good computer stuff in here that you're probably not used to seeing. It can look a little intimidating. It's not. It's very simple. What you'll notice with the buttons here is that there are colored wires connected to each buttons with these little prongs. Now when you remove these wires, like we're going to in a second, you really want to take note of which color goes to which button. If you don't, it'll screw up your button inputs entirely. You'll have to do all this menu stuff and reconfigure your buttons. It can be a big mess, so it's better now to just go ahead and take that extra step. When you do this, you'll notice these little rubber slip covers. These fit over the actual prongs here. You can just slide these off. I've already slid them off of the button that we'll be taking out. When you slide them off, you just kind of pull on these, and you're going to have to give it a little tug. They can be very stubborn. You'll see they come off just like that. There we go. There's the other one. Now once you have this off and you've taken note of which button it goes to, you can then push down on either side here. You'll notice these things that push in on the button. You push these in, and you just gradually push the button right through the casing, and then you have your button. It's just right here. And you set your button over here, you grab your replacement button, and it's the same process. You make sure to push down on either side of the button, and then gently push it up through the casing. And when you push it all the way through, you'll hear it pop, just like that. And then you just set these back on here like this. We're gonna be right back, folks.
Does the soda of your choice leave you with an upset stomach? Do you just experience flavor without really quenching your thirst? Why not try something different? Carbonated flavored liquid. Healthy never tasted so good.
Welcome back, folks. I'm Andrew Bowes. This is Arcade Science. We're talking a bit today about personalizing your own arcade stick, and we've just put a new button inside the casing here, so let's get back to it. So once you get your new button in, you're going to go back to these colored wires. And like I said with the prongs earlier, you're going to want to make sure that you put the right color back on the button. I cannot stress that enough. So you take these back. Notice that there are two wires. Don't worry about which wire goes to which side. The button will respond no matter which side. You can even switch this up here and put them on different prongs. It doesn't matter. The button will respond either way. So you just slip these back on here, and you want to make sure they really get in there. You'll hear them snap in most cases. And slide your slip covers back over the prongs. And then once you've done that, your new button's in. It should be ready to go. It's all in there. It's snapped in. It won't move around on you. You want to make sure that they don't twist. Sometimes buttons, if you don't put them in the right way, they'll move around on you, and it's just uncomfortable to play with. So the next thing we're going to move into is the actual stick itself. Like I said earlier, this is a Sanwa stick. This is also a Sanwa ball top. Ball tops are not just a huge problem. If you don't get a Japanese ball top, they literally just sit on the top of the stick. They're mostly just for decoration. So we'll get back inside the inside of the stick over here. Basically, you're going to want to take your flathead screwdriver, and you're going to want to get right here in this part right here. It's a little slit in the bottom of the stick. You'll notice that this is the actual stick. It moves around here in what's called a gate. This is a hexagate, which means it has 6 positions. There are also octagates, which are a little more responsive for faster-paced games. So what you do is you slip this in here, and when you slip it in there, you're going to grab the ball top on the other side and unscrew the ball top using the leverage that you have from the screwdriver on the other side so this won't move. So you unscrew the ball top, and you set it over here. You take this off. You take off your dust cover. This prevents any kind of dust from getting inside of your stick. And then, once you have that off, you can pull this back out. And then you'll see some screws in here. Now, there'll probably be some red glue on these screws. That's just something that the manufacturer put there as a precaution so that the screws don't move around inside the casing. But in most cases, you can just push your screwdriver right through the glue and unscrew these. I'm not going to unscrew all of them in the interest of time. But once you unscrew all of these, your stick will be loose. It'll be floating around outside the case. And so you then want to take your white plastic piece here. It's got some prongs on it, and you want to make sure that you pull this off as well, pretty gently. But as with the button prongs, don't be afraid to give it a little tug, because it can be very stubborn, especially if there's glue on there. And once you've done that, you can remove it completely and replace it. Now, when you replace the stick, you want to be certain that you put it back in there and that the prongs are facing the right direction. If they're not, you'll have to pull this part all the way over here, and even if you get it to connect somehow, your character will be jumping when you're trying to duck. All your inputs will be wrong. It'll be a big mess. It'll actually give you more problems than if you did the coloring wrong on the buttons. And once you replace that in, you put all your screws, you reconnect your part, like so. Make sure that's good and on there. And then you take your screwdriver again, put it right back in there. Well, the first thing you can do is tighten the ball top. And then to make sure that it's really tight, put this back in. And you tighten that up. Now, that's not going to go anywhere. And so there you go. And then you have, obviously you'd want to replace that button as well. But, and that's essentially it. That's all you need to do that particular job. How many buttons you actually have on your stick depends on what game you're going to be playing. I'm primarily a Street Fighter player, so I have a 6-button setup. This is just a traditional 6-button setup. For games like Tekken, which are 4-button games, you may not even need this. You may just have a stick that looks like this. For games like BlazBlue, you might have an 8-button setup. You'll have 2 additional buttons like you did over here. Now, what you can do, obviously, if you feel like spending the cash, these cost you $80. Well, folks, that's all we have time for today. We're going to come back next week where we talk about how to apply graphic art to your stick. Thanks for watching.